Hi, I'm Marissa Miller, and today we are going to be talking about 3 different types of triangles. So let's go ahead and start out with the first triangle. I want everyone to go ahead and grab your Cornell note sheet, and we're going to take some notes on those 3 triangles. So first triangle looks like this. And we've got an interior angle of 90 degrees. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to take our angle legs and our protractor, and we are going to form this 90-degree triangle. Okay, so go ahead and take your protractor, or your protractor and your angle legs, and go ahead and try and form that 90-degree angle. Now, if you notice on your protractor, there are little numbers. And these numbers are going to tell you what the interior angles of the triangle are going to be. Now, there's some on the bottom. These ones are, and there's some on the top, and they will extend to 180 degrees. And funny enough, the total of the interior angles on the triangle equal 180 degrees. So let's say you're trying to solve for all the interior angles of a triangle, and they give you 2 angles. Well, you can take that 180 and subtract the 2 angles and get your last angle. Or let's say you have this triangle and you're like, well, I've got a 90-degree angle, but what if the other 2 angles are also 90 degrees? Most of the time they're not going to be, because it's a triangle. It's not going to work out that way. But if you wanted to solve for the other 2 angles, you could take the 180, subtract 90, and then you could try and get a rough estimate of what these 2 angles could be. But all of the interior angles have to equal 180. So go ahead and take your protractor, find the 90 degrees. That one will be straight up and down. And you're going to form your triangle on that using your angle legs. So when you form it, if you notice, you'll have a blue side on the bottom, a purple on the top, and a red on this side. And it forms that 90-degree angle. Okay? So you've got the 90-degree angle. Now let's go ahead and name this angle, or triangle. So because it's a 90-degree angle on the triangle, that 90 degrees forms a right angle. So we're going to call this triangle a right triangle. And a right triangle is equal to 90 degrees. Okay? So go ahead and write all of this. Write this at the top of your Cornell notes, and then write this right under it. While you're writing that, I'm going to go ahead and form our next triangle on our protractor with our angle legs. Okay. And now I'm going to draw our next triangle, okay? So our next triangle looks like this, okay? And then we've got a 60-degree angle right there. So go ahead and take out your protractor, find that 60 degrees, line up one of those angle legs, and try and form an acute triangle. Okay, so when you form the next triangle with the 60 degrees, it should look something like this, okay? It's going to have all orange sides. Now, you notice all these are the same color, means all of them are the same length. that makes, more specifically, this triangle would be an equilateral triangle, okay? An isosceles triangle, sorry. And so we have a special name as well for a triangle that has a smaller angle size. So let's go ahead and write our 90 degrees. And we're going to need a symbol here and a name here. So comparing 60 to 90, would 60 be greater than, less than, or equal to 90 degrees? Right, it would be less than 90 degrees. So there's our symbol, okay? And now we need a name for this triangle. Well, our name for a triangle that has angles less than 90 degrees is called an acute triangle. Okay, so go ahead and write this. Make sure you have it drawn and the angle here to help you out and to be able to compare it to that 90 degrees. Okay, and while you're doing that, I'm going to form our last triangle. Okay, using our angle legs and the protractor. Erase this. So here is our next triangle. Which has an angle of 132 degrees. And we're going to compare that to 90 degrees, okay? So go ahead, take out your protractor and your angle legs and form this triangle with your protractor. Mine's not wanting to stay very well. But there is our next triangle on our protractor. And if you notice, it's roughly about a 132 degree angle right here. Okay, we have our green leg down here, our purple leg up here, and our red leg over here. So, taking this triangle, drawing it on your paper as well, you notice this 132 compared to the 90, is that going to be greater than, less than, or equal to our 90 degrees? It would be greater than, correct. So let's go ahead and write our symbol that we have here, greater than 90 degrees. And now we have a special name for a triangle that has an angle greater than 90 degrees. And that would be an obtuse triangle. All right. So we went through an acute triangle, which has an angle measure less than 90 degrees, right? And then we have an obtuse triangle, which has an angle measure that is greater than 90 degrees, correct? And last but not least, we have our right triangle, which has an angle measure equal to 90 degrees. That's right. All right, so now I want you to go ahead and pull out your interior angles worksheet, and we are going to go through the problems in that worksheet. So let me go ahead and draw our first triangle. And our angle measure that it gives us. And we're going to want to name it, give it a symbol that compares it to 90 degrees. Okay. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and take our protractor and our angle legs, and we are going to form this triangle on our protractor, okay? So go ahead and do that real quick. I'll go ahead and give you a hint. You want to make sure you use your red, your purple, and your yellow legs to form this 110-degree triangle. Okay? All right, so if you can see, I used my yellow one at the bottom, I used my purple one on the side, and my red one on the top, okay? So, and you notice this purple line is hitting the 110. That makes this interior angle right here 110 degrees. Now, is 110 degrees greater than, less than, or equal to 90? It's greater than, correct. So we're going to go ahead and write that symbol out in that box on our paper, and then we want to name the triangle. Now, which one of these triangles, do you remember, has an angle measure greater than 90 degrees? Not an acute. Remember, an acute triangle has an angle measure less than 90 degrees. That's right, our obtuse triangle. So go ahead and write in that blank, obtuse triangle. All right, good job. And I want y'all to go ahead and finish the last 4 questions on your interior angles paper worksheet. And then when you're done, flip it over, and on the back, I want you to draw a few boxes. Go ahead and show you. And you can even make this look fancy if you want, like I'm gonna do here. So I've got my boxes, and I've got a fancy little door here. And I want y'all, on the back of y'all's paper, to take one of these 3 triangles, just one, and I want you to form a castle with it. Form the tops of the castle with the triangles up here. You can even put one here. If you want to do a flag, you can put that triangle as a flag as well. And I want to see some nice castles too, okay? Nice enough for a princess to live in, okay? So go ahead, break up independently, work on y'all's 4 remaining questions, and on the back, go ahead and draw y'all's last castle, okay? Ready, set, go.